Hello, and good evening, everyone. How are you doing? I'm excited to be here again today. Yes, I'm your host, Yemisi Lagunju. You are so welcome to another episode of the Showcase. Yes, this is our August episode, and I know it's going to be another explosive, insightful, life transforming, life giving episode. Yes. It is the showcase. And as always, I'm excited. I am Yemisi Lagunju. I'm sure you can see that on the screen. And I know it is going to be a beautiful episode. So we're just going to give people 1 or 2 more minutes to get their popcorn, get their drinks, sit down and settle down, even as we proceed with this episode tonight. Please go ahead and share the link with someone. Go ahead and invite your friends, your family, somebody that you know needs to hear about the message of purpose. Please go ahead and invite them right now. Share the link with them. And I promise that it will be indeed an impactful time for them. I know it's going to be transformational because I know the guest that we have tonight. He is truly somebody that is loaded, that has so much to give, so much to share with everyone. So I have no doubt in my heart, in my mind, as in anything, that is going to be a beautiful episode. So go ahead and begin to share that link right now. I'm going to give you a few more minutes to do that. Go ahead and share the link with somebody, invite somebody, remind them that today is the showcase. Yes. Welcome, Ronke. Thank you for being here tonight. If you know that you are already on this live stream, let me see you put something in the comment box that lets me know that you are ready to go. If I just put I'm ready, if you know that you are truly ready for today's episode, because I know it is going to be power-packed. In fact, were you around when we had this last episode? That was the August edition. Well, no, the July episode that we had in August. That was Fuel Your Passion. In fact, the comments I was getting after that, even myself, I was like, wow, was that me? Was it me dishing it out? Because it was truly an impactful time. I hope that your passion is still flowing. I hope the fire is still burning. We learned how to keep that fire burning. We learned how to keep up our, fire ignited. Yes, I hope your fire is still burning bright, because you need that fire and that passion to keep running this race of purpose. Yes. Awesome. Good to see you all as you are connecting and coming in. Please drop a comment in this comments box, in the chat box. Let me know that you are ready to go. And like I said, go ahead and share this link with someone else. Tell someone that they need to be a part of what is going on this evening. Welcome. I have no doubt that it is going to be a truly loaded, awesome, beautiful session. Okay. So for those of you that may be joining me for the first time and you are wondering, who is this lady and who is this person that is speaking? My name remains and is Yemisi Lagunju, aka the Igniter. And you may be wondering, what am I igniting? I like igniting fire, but not the fire that is in the kitchen. Neither is it the fire in the fireplace, but it is the fire that is in you and in your bones. That is the fire that I'm truly igniting this evening. That fire that causes you to say to yourself, I am running this race of purpose. I will live an intentional life. I will make a difference. And guess what? As you run that race, you are truly living out a successful life. Like one of the things I always say, success is relative. What you call success is different from what I call success, simply because our race, and our journey is different and unique to everyone. Yes, it is. So whatever is your own purpose, why not begin to run in line with that? Why not run till you get to the finish line? And remember, I keep saying it, that purpose is never a destination. Purpose is a journey. And we keep on going on that journey until the final moment when we finally give up that last breath. Yes, we keep on running and we keep on moving until we get to that day. So once again, you are all welcome. It is me, Yemisi, your host for the showcase. And let me just give you a little tip. Maybe this is the first time that you're joining the showcase, and you may be wondering, what am I really expecting today? What am I looking forward to? What is this, show going to bring to me? Now, let me tell you. Let me break it down so that you can really truly understand. The showcase is that online platform where we actually showcase the lives of individuals that have discovered their life purpose. And not only have they discovered it, but they have discovered it and they are walking in it. They've given expression to it and they are living out their purpose every day and every time. Now, it becomes so easy for everyone to actually just live life the mundane way. Wake up, eat, go to work, come back, go to maybe one program or the other, affect one or two people's life, and that's it. But guess what? Your life was not made for that. Your life was made for more than just that. Your life was made to be impactful. Your life was made to make a difference. Guess what? You were created to make an imprint and to leave a mark in the sands of time, such that you have left a legacy, an impact, a difference, to make a mark in the lives of people around you. And the only way you can truly do that is when you discover what your purpose is. Yes, and that is what the showcase is all about. We showcase everything about living life intentionally, living life on purpose, for purpose and by purpose. Yes, that is what the showcase is. And every month, we usually will have a guest speaker, somebody that will come and share their own story, how they discovered their purpose and how they have been living it out. Yes, because I believe that as they share their story, they shed a little more light on your own journey, on your own path. Maybe you have started this journey at a time, and along the way, let's face it, realities of life begin to kick in. And you say to yourself, I don't think I can cope with this journey, this path of purpose that I want to run. So let me just, settle down for that which is as familiar, that which is usual, that which I know how to handle, and so you settle in for that life. And yes, life may be going well. Yes, maybe you are successful. And yes, maybe you are achieving quite a lot. But somewhere deep within your heart, there's something that keeps on calling out to you that lets you know there is more. There is more than what you already have. And there's a deep that keeps on calling to you to come up and to come closer. And that is why we are here tonight. Showcase is that, platform that would help you, boost you, and encourage you to keep living life purposeful by design. So once again, to everyone that is connected, I would like to say a big welcome. It is good to have you here today. Thank you to my usual G's, yourself, my usual people. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for always being here. Thank you for believing in this journey with me. You have started on this journey and you have been running this journey with me. And I say a big thank you. I don't take you guys for granted. All right. So we are going to go into what we have for today already. Like I always say, our guest is ready. He's at the backstage waiting, ready to share his story, ready to, add value to our lives. And guess what? I would like to encourage you. If there's anything or anyone that is about to distract you or can possibly distract you, maybe you need to tune down the volume of the TV. Maybe you need to ask one or two people, maybe your little ones, you need to go play somewhere else or something, or even encourage your children. Come and sit and let's listen and watch this together. Because really, the journey of purpose is not only set for adults, it is set for everybody, the young and the old, male and female, rich and poor. Everyone has a purpose. And so let us get ourselves ready for what we have for today. Because I know without a shadow of a doubt that today's episode is going to be lit. I am saying it with all confidence. It is going to be lit. Okay? So we're going to go into what we have for today already. Like I said, our guest speaker is ready. And it's time that you also get to meet our guest speaker. Who is this person? Yes, you have seen his name on the flyer, Joseph Baiyekusi. And for some of you, you may just be wondering, who is this person? Now, don't worry. I'm going to give you a little, intro, a little idea of who this person is. Okay? So we're going to go straight into reading his bio. And I have no doubt that he's truly going to be a time of impact and a time of, a wonderful time to every one of us. Okay. All right. So let's go straight into what we have for today. Now, Joseph Baiyekusi is a proactive and versatile professional with a wide range of skills, experience gained from a variety of operational environments in oil and gas, church ministry, learning and human capacity development, prints and graphics design, writing and publishing, consulting, logistics industries. I mean, are you guys feeling? Can you guys see all the different things already? Can you guys see it? Yes, he is the presiding minister of Dr. Soma World Ministry, a non-denominational ministry burdened with the responsibility to prepare the church for the second return of Jesus. Yes, 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 that is who he is. Currently, he is an inspirational speaker, leadership coach, author, and missionary. He lives in Springs, Texas. Can we give a warm welcome, a beautiful welcome to our wonderful guest today, none other than himself, Mr. Joseph Baiyekusi. I always like to give that dance. Welcome, sir. It is good to have you on today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Sister Yemisi.
Thank you, sir.
I'm happy to be here, and I'm sure we're going to all have a good time together.
Yes, we will. I have no doubt about that. For some of you, for those of you that have been like my OGs, that you have been following Showcase like ever since like 2020 when Showcase started. Some of you will be saying, that song name sounds familiar. It's like I've heard of that name before. Yes, because his second half, that person that completes him, that makes him complete and whole. Yes, other than word, there's a physical person. Yeah, that person, Christine Baiyekusi, she has been on the Showcase before, and as usual, her episode was another lit, firebrand, and igniting, life transforming, episode. So I have no doubt. I mean, when a woman comes like that and she has fire in her bones, how much more the man that is right behind that? Hey, shaka.
My wife is more fiery than me. I'm a gentleman.
You are a gentleman, but now, my brother, how you balance us, how you help us to, package us well. So we are finally meeting that man behind that beautiful woman. Yes. Thank you so much, sir. It is good to have you here today. Wow. So to everyone, yes, this is Mr. Joseph Baiyekusi. And I'm going to ask you, sir, the first question I usually ask, which is, can you tell us in a statement, what would you describe your purpose as? What is that your purpose statement? What is that thing that makes you who you are? So could you share that with us?
Thank you, Yemisi, for having me on the showcase. And we want to showcase our creator here. That's what I'm here to do, and how my creator has helped me in the journey of life. It is 52 years, and It's not by my power or by my might. But straight to your question, what really how will I describe my mission or my purpose statement? It's simple. It's in two dimensions. And I'll put it in one sentence. My mission is to prepare, like you read my resume here, was to prepare the church for the return of Jesus, and then to position the church to make her societal impact. The Bible calls us the light of the world, not the light of the church. And we always miss that, statement of Christ. So what is the role of a Christian in modern society, in contemporary society, in our environment, in our community, in our families? We are not just to have a good time in church on Sundays and then we just enjoy ourselves and go back Monday to Saturday. What are we supposed to be doing Monday to Saturday? That's also part of, my mission statement, apart from, preparing the church for, the coming of the Lord. Amen.
Yeah, wow. I love what he just said. It's not just about church on Sunday. It is about what happened in between, the Monday to Saturday. And that is when really church should actually be happening.
Yeah.
Church isn't about Sunday. Sunday best. I go to the church. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Church is what we live out every day, at every time, in any place.
Yes.
So thank you so much for that. So I'm going to ask you this question, sir. Okay, you've told us your purpose statement. Let me ask you, sir, at what point would you say that you began to have an awareness that you have a purpose? Because it's actually one thing that that, there's something called purpose. But there's another reality when you actually begin to know that you as an individual have a purpose. So I would like to put it this way. At what point in time did you begin to have an awareness in your life that you have a purpose? And it's not just about something generic that everybody has, but I, Joseph Baiyekusi, I have a purpose. So at what point in time was that like for you, sir?
If I'm going to answer that question, I can write a book on that. It's a long story. But let me shorten it. I would say my purpose stems out of my foundation, or will I say my family, or will I say my upbringing, or the environment I was exposed to growing up. Yes. I'm the sixth child of 7 children. I'm a twin. I have a twin sister. So before now, I used to bear Kehinde Baiyekusi, and my twin, of course, she bears Taiwo Baiyekusi. And at what point did I find purpose? Growing up in my family, my father was a military officer. And then growing up in that wonderful family, I remember how connected, how united, how interwoven we were growing up. My father, I would say, was the first person to be a Christian. I mean, a Christian, born again in my family. We all grew up going to the church, the military church back then. And we would go to church. In fact, then Sunday was my worst day on earth because my father will force and push. We're living in Ilukbeju then. My father will force everybody to go to church, at that time. And I was like, Sunday is supposed to be your rest day. Why you push people, go to church? This was me, under 10 then. And, well, we'll go to church, but I wasn't born again. And my father will have devotion in the house every day because we're 7 kids. So every day, 7 days, 7 kids. So from the oldest to the last, you will take the morning, evening. We do our devotions in the evening. So from my eldest sister to my younger sister, Ido, we'll all take turns Monday to Sunday, having devotion and leading the devotion. So I could preach, I could share the Bible, I could even pray, all those growing up years that I was not born again, And so fast forward, I went to, Command Secondary School, Ikpaja. And of course, I wasn't born again out of that experience. I went to IMT Enugu, I did my OND in chemical engineering. At that point, still, I wasn't born again. But I now transferred by direct entry and I went to IFE, Obafemi Awolowo University, chemical engineering. And it was in my year 3, January 12th, 1997, that I found and I met Jesus. I gave my life to Christ in Caris Fellowship International on campus. And I would say that singular experience, that day, I believe was the day my life took a turn to begin to navigate to divine plan and divine purpose. Of course, I got saved out of the fact that, my dad had laid a very beautiful foundation for us growing up, knowing God, talking God, praying to God, believing and having faith in God, And so after that January 12th experience, I began to find myself that life is beyond just me finding, what to eat and, enjoy life. So I remember in 1999, just about 2 years after, I got saved, I had a translation experience. And in that experience, it was like I was like a Superman, flying in the air, and God was showing me the world, the new world that Revelation 21 talked about, and I was flying and I was seeing all sorts of things, beautiful, the world, the new world we are going to see in Revelation 21. It's amazing. And God was showing me everything. And I saw people dressed up in white. Now, the white here, I did not recognize anybody by the color of their skin because, we're not going to carry this body to heaven when we translate and we are, raptured. So I did not identify anybody by skin color, but it was like we're all like glitters, glittering beings, a host of sea of people that you cannot, count. And then I noticed that everybody had like a green palm tree or palm leaf in their hands, and then dressed in white, glittering white. And then this was what I heard the voice, I believe, of God said to me. He says, you cannot afford to miss heaven. Haven't seen the beautiful things I show you up here. There's so much joy in heaven. Go tell my people. Mark that last word sentence. Go tell my people. So I wrote it down somewhere. And I left it at that, continued school and, and left IFE. And then I found myself working in the oil industry. And then in August of 1999, God told me to resign from the oil industry. It was calling me into full-time ministry. And I was like, wow, how, why? I should leave oil company and then go into full-time ministry to do what? To preach unity, to talk about the return of Christ. At that time, I didn't even have the details then, but it was just, you have a burden. I want to put a burden on you for the church, for my people. And then he said, go tell my people. So August, I heard those words, but I did not resign. I felt it wasn't something I needed to obey. But from that day, I began to get uneasy, uninterested, with engineering, with the oil industry and life of my own, the kind of ambition I wanted to pursue at that time. So I as a daddy's boy, as a mommy's boy, I was living, me and my immediate elder brother were living together then. And I went to tell my parents where they were living then that, hey, daddy, mommy, God has called me into full-time ministry. That was in the last Saturday in August. I can't remember the date, 1999. No, year 2000. Year 2000. Because between that 1999, I had that translation experience, and that August of 2020, I was, having conversations, me and God one-on-one. God, should I resign? Should I not resign? And all that was bubbling on my inside. And August, I took the bull by the horn. I said, I've had enough of these internal struggles and battle. Like Jonah trying to run away from going to Nineveh, he ran to Tarshish. And I took that bold step, went to my parents. They were the only ones at home that day. It was a Saturday evening. And I went to meet them. I said, Daddy, Mommy, God told me to go into full-time ministry. I'm resigning. I'm leaving the oil industry, blah, blah, blah. Before this time, I'd worked, in the course of, transitioning from the Polytechnic to the university. I worked 2 years also in Texaco overseas, now Chevron, they merged with Chevron. So I worked 2 years, 1992 to 94, So I had tasted, he said, come and taste and see that the Lord is good. I had tasted the fruits of the oil company, and I felt this is where life is. I go die here. Now here God plants me. So I wasn't looking at working any other place in my life but the oil industry. And so fast forward to 1990, 2000, and this was me saying, I surrender all to you, Lord. I want to obey you rather than obey man. So I went to tell my parents, and then my mom immediately broke down in tears. My dad was speechless. It was like there was somebody just died. I came to break a news that somebody had just passed away. And the truth of the matter, I had just died, to myself, to my ambition, and to life, my own pursuit, So, and everyone went quiet. And my dad didn't say a word. So nobody talked to me back. Nobody gave me a response. After a while, I took my things and I left the house. It was cold. It was stale. And the next day, my dad had told my eldest brothers, 3 of them, and then my eldest brother called me to his house in Ilugbeju that I should come. That's what did he hear me go and tell daddy and mommy yesterday that I wanted to resign? So my eldest brother, he begged me, he cautioned me, he warned me, he advised me, Kehinde, don't resign, please stay on. Look at your immediate senior brother. Tunde is still in ministry and he's working. You can have that kind of combination too. I said, okay. I listened to my brother. I listened to my family. I did not resign. But fast forward again, 3 months down the line, I couldn't take it. The pressure, the heat was too much on me. And then by November 15th, year 2000, I took the bull by the horn. I did not confer with flesh and blood. And then I dropped my resignation that day. And there's a story behind it, but I don't want to say too much of that. And my wife was then, she was my girlfriend then, she came for my send-off that day. And that was November 30th when I eventually bowed out. And then my journey started. So to answer your question, that my translation experience culminating also in, all the life experiences I've had from my family, all put together, gave me that point of divergence that this is where God is calling me into. As against chemical engineering, God was calling me to engineer souls for him. That's been my calling. I'm a mind engineer. I'm into mind recalibration and inspirational talks and stuff like that. So to answer your question, that was where the igniter, right? Igniter is in the room here. That was where I got my own ignition from. That translation experience and bowing and obeying the call of God on November 30th, year 2000, when I took a bow out of engineering.
Wow. In fact, that story, because for anybody that gets a job, especially as in our client here in Nigeria, if you get a job in an oil company, go don't prepare God has buttered your bread very well. Life is good, So let me ask you this. Yes, you came to a point where you actually decided, okay, I'm going to answer this call. Were you afraid, sir?
Of course. I wasn't just only afraid. Afraid is even putting it lightly. I was scared. Because I grew up, if you ask any of my siblings, my senior brothers or my twin sister, they will tell you that I was pampered growing up. I was a mommy's boy. I had everything done for me, as it were. I had never struggled to do anything. And here I was embracing a call from the known to the unknown. Who takes care of my bills? This is a young man that is thinking about going to marry someday, very soon. He will start a family. And I had no assurance of anything. And let me shock you, Yemisi, for the next 11 years, not 11 weeks, not 11 months, not 11 days. For the next 11 years of my life, I walked by faith. So Was I scared? Was I afraid? I was scared. I did not know what and this is where, when God calls a man, and if you check it all through scripture, it's the same experience. Talk about Moses, talk about Abraham, talk about Joseph. Oh, 11 stars will bow before you. How will it happen? Did he know he was going to be a houseboy, a slave, or something, going to prison? He didn't know all of that. But the walk of faith is it is day by day journey. So I was afraid, but thank God, what pushed me and gave me that push and strength to go was the woman I married. I always say this. We were not married then, but she had been the one from that beginning point when God called me. And she will quote a scripture, would you obey God or man? When I started the journey in 1999, then accepted and embraced the call in 2000. She will like, you better obey God. My wife is very rugged in faith, very, very rugged. So she's been that. You can testify. My wife doesn't mind if we have to go zero to go up back again. God brought her into my life, to help me walk that faith walk. So it wasn't an easy, journey to embrace and accept the call. But today, 25 years after, I can tell the story better now.
Wow. Now, okay, let me ask this, sir. While you were going through that journey for that 11 years, walking by faith, did you at any point in time get to a point where you felt, maybe I've made a mistake? Maybe I didn't really hear him. Or maybe, like your brother said, oh, maybe you could have felt that maybe I should have, maybe I didn't do it well or the right way. Maybe I should have maintained my job and continued. Did you at any point in time, get to a place where you felt you struggled with it and said, maybe I just didn't get it right? Because I know personally that there have been seasons in my life that, I began to second guess that, did I really hear? Do I really know what I'm doing? Am I clear? Because you really did not know where you were going. It's like the story of Abraham, and God is calling him to a city, to a place, a promised land, where he doesn't even know. God could not even give him the address of this promised land. The promised land is Canaan. God didn't give him the address. All he knew was God has said, there is a promised land I'm bringing you into, and here you are walking that journey, and promised land is not really in sight. And where you are coming from, you have gone far. Did you at any point in time get to a point when you said, maybe I didn't hear God right? Or maybe I could have done it in a different way, or whatever? Did you? Let me hear that from you.
Very, very good question, because every visionaire, most especially when you are called to run a race and have a ministry calling, every visionaire at some point, really, you would ask this question. Is it Jeremiah? Is it Elijah? Is it Joseph? Abraham? At a point, it gets because you are going to meet obstacles. You are going to face difficulties. I'm telling you, those 11 years of my life were the most difficult years of my entire life. Troubling, turbulent. And I started off that journey 1st of December year 2000 on a strictly journey of faith. I wasn't married then. I started courting my wife then. We courted for 4 years and 1 month. And even my entire family at that point did not believe I was called. One, felt I was suffering myself. Why, like you said, why don't you do like your immediate elder brother, Tunde, who was called into ministry and was working? Must you resign? Must you leave this whole experience, this chemical engineering, and face ministry? So it was, and then First year, second year, third year, no effect, no impact. Nobody is talking about you. You have not become the next Oyedepo or the next Amadeyemi somewhere. So, okay, what is this call all about? So it was turbulent. It was troubling. But each time and I would say this, layer by layer, the vision began to get clearer and clearer in my head. When I accepted to leave engineering, when I accepted to, obey God, at that point, I did not have, a full picture like I have today. And that's what the walk of faith is all about. It's a step by step, day by day walk, and there were times whereby for 11 years, I didn't have a predictable income. I didn't know where I was going to have my next meal. And then in the process of it, 3 years down the line, I got married, 2003. And how will I marry a woman? I don't have a job. Like I said, my wife she's a faithful, full of faith. She didn't give a damn about that. This is the man God said I should marry. And if this man has a vision, like God gave Adam a vision before he brought Eve, and this man shared his vision with me that this is what God is calling to do, and I believe in his vision. It doesn't matter what it would look like at the beginning. So we started off, and we didn't even have a house. We got married in Air Force Officers Mess in Victoria Island. My story is very long. I don't want to bore you with some of it. But it was really, really tough. I didn't have a house to take my wife to after our wedding day.
Wow.
So we had to go lodge for 5 days. Okay, we first lodged 2 nights at Bible Guest House in Pangrove. After then, we went to MFM Prayer City for the next 5 days apart.
Wow.
We didn't have a house. We had to go and pitch in my former boss's house, in his boys' quarters, 1 room, 1 bedroom, no sitting room. That was where our mattress is, and it was only mattress in that room. There was no chair, there was no TV, there was no radio, there was no fridge, 1 camp gas cooker. That was how we started. Obeying God. It looked foolish, it looked stupid, and it was like, God. But the joy of embracing the call that you are in the will of God didn't shake me at that point. And then we began to, have kids. Number 1 came, and on and on and on and on the story went. But in those 11 years, God used that to solidify me walking when he tells me do this. It now made it easier for me to obey God. It now made it sweeter for me to obey God at the first call, So for those 11 years, yes, there were days or times whereby I felt, did I hear God well? Did I leave too soon? Why didn't I get some money before I launched into ministry? But the Bible says, take no script, take no pause with you, and all of that. So that was how it started. But along the line, after those 11 years, some challenges now faced me straight in the face. And that opened up the next phase of my calling and my life as a minister, and as a minister also in the marketplace. So after those 11 years, God now gave me a job in the oil company back. And I went back in to the oil company, and I was there physically there for another 9 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Wow. It's one of the things that at times maybe you are engaging with Bible stories and things like that, and you look at how God calls people out of what is their familiar, and it's really because he wants to be able to kind of take them through a pruning process, take them through a process where they are they learn to die to themselves completely and, rest on him, walking in faith, holy. So I see that is one of the things, in a way, I would say that that's like what God was working it out through you. Because for God to bring you to a place where he wants you to be, he needs to know that when he tells you move, you will move. You won't ask questions, And really, I know that I know I've known you for years, and I know a part of some of these stories and these seasons of life, And sincerely, I look at you and I'm like, thank God, because sincerely, I'm thankful that you responded to that call, because you have been of a great influence and great impact in the lives of people. Now, you mentioned that you eventually came back into the oil and gas space. Now, I know that at the time, I remember that you were doing, some leadership trainings and things like that. How did you move from, that engineering, then to ministry, and then to leadership training and all that? And even now, I'm aware that you do some trainings and stuff like that, even currently. So my question is, how did you begin to find expression for those things there? How did you get to that point? How did you know, this is an expression of what God is calling you to do?
All right. Thank you. Thank you again. If you check people that God called, in the Bible, and I'll take a case in point. Moses 120 years on earth was broken into 3 phases of 40 years. The first 40 years, he was a prince of Egypt. He enjoyed wealth and affluence. He was rich and everything was going well for him. And then here came the call. 40 years again. He went back to the desert to learn, to unlearn Egypt, right? And learn how to shepherd, which now took him to the next 40 years of his life, which was going to lead him to be a good shepherd of human beings. Those in between 40 years was to shepherd animals. Backside of the desert, unlearned the ways of Egypt, and so those 3 portions of his life all came at different points. And I would say my life is exactly like that way. Portions, like I told you, segmented. Growing up, my father wanted me to be a medical doctor. That's another big story. I never wanted to do chemical engineering. Was this my father still? Oh, God bless his soul in heaven. My number one hero in life, And so medicine came, it didn't work. Chemical engineering came, yes, it worked for a season. Then, like I said, those 11 years in the wilderness, the things God did for me, like he did for Moses, was to unlearn some things and to learn some things. My background has always been the YDX, calculus, mathematics. I wasn't an art person. I wasn't into anything writing and stuff like that, or graphic designs or things like that. But guess what? In those 11 years of trouble and turbulence and hard times, God was teaching me, one, how to be a public speaker. Come on. My wife today does not believe I was, at one phase of my life, a shy person. Ask my secondary school classmates.
I'm shocked.
She doesn't believe it. Ask my secondary school classmates. Maybe some of them are online now. I was very shy. But in those 11 years, God was building capacity for the call, for the work that was going to come later. So in those 11 years, I learned how to be a public speaker. I learned how to write. Oh, to the glory of God, I'm a writer. I can edit now. I can do graphics design. I can do, creative concepts. And that came from my wife. Learning all that under her. You will marry well, for some of you that are not married listening to me.
Yes, so.
Because marriage is so key. The person you marry can make or mar your destiny.
True.
If my wife, this woman was not in my life, I'm not sure I'll be where I am today. I'm serious. She has a significant role she's played in my life, meeting her and then marrying her. So in those 11 years, I learned how to write. So, and if you remember, thank God for this. Yemisi, I met your husband, my friend, I call him covenant brother. I met Kunle Lagunjo. How? On the precept of my writing. He saw one of my flyers in 2006, no, 2003 or 4. He saw my writing. And that was what he used to trace me where I was in my office those days in Antoni Village. And that was how we connected till tomorrow. And that was how God brought us together. Oh, this man is talking about unity in the body of Christ. That's also my passion. One spirit. The name of my ministry there was called One Body. Till today, some people know me as One Body. And then he was one spirit. This is too good to be
One body, one spirit.
One spirit. How? Let me look for this man. Wherever he is in the hole in Antoni, I will look for him. And Kunle came to meet me on the premise of my writing. That phase of my life, God was proving me, giving me the skill to write. And then the third dimension of what God taught me in those 11 years was being a public speaker. As in having trainings and presentations, and then raising the next generation, not just on the pulpits, but in the marketplace, being able to train and teach people, how to find purpose. And that was where I began to learn that part of me, to help people find purpose like I found it, and help people discover purpose and help people embrace their purpose in my trainings. So fast forward to after my 11 years, and I transited again back to the oil industry. But this time I wasn't transiting into chemical engineering. I was transiting into human capacity development training.
Wow.
So yes, I was in the oil industry, but I wasn't practicing engineering. Now I was practicing social science. So the company I was working for had a foundation, which was a leadership foundation. And I was employed as a COO. And I was saddled with the responsibility of, going to campuses, university campuses, to find young leaders, bring them to our leadership academy and train them. And that was how another chapter of my life beautifully opened up. Beautifully opened up. And my boss then, Engineer Kiyodumakine, one of the best people I've ever worked with in my life. He gave me an open check. Anything you want, Joseph, tell me. Guess what? I entered the company in 2011. By January of 2012, I was coming to the United States of America. Who was I coming to have a meeting with? You know who I was coming to? I was scheduled to meet in California. My first time in America. Who did I book an appointment to see in far away Palm Springs, California?
Tell us.
Should I tell you?
Yes, so.
Bill Clinton. I'm telling you the truth. He just left White House. So he just started his own foundation called, Clinton Global Initiative, CGI. And while I started, I started off in that leadership foundation. I was like, we are going to have a leadership conference. Who is going to be our speaker? Bring the person to Nigeria. And I was on the internet just surfing and checking and all of that. And I just saw the program Bill Clinton was going to have in California. I told my boss, I said, hey, okay, we need to bring this man for our leadership conference in 2012. And my boss said, fine, fantastic. Let's work towards bringing him. Okay, we'll go together. And then last minute, my boss pulled and said, hey, there are some business, meetings that came up that he has to handle that I can. Yeah, Joseph, you can go talk to Bill Clinton alone. You can do it. You can do it. Mike. Anyway, I went. And that was how my journey started in that leadership journey to raise leaders out of Africa.
Wow.
And the next 9 years of my life, working in that leadership foundation was phenomenal. I will tell you, if I want to relive my life, those are one of the days of my life I want to relive. Because right before me, we did so many things, exploits on campuses, to find young people. Nigerian youths are loaded if they can be triggered rightly. If we have foundations like ours across the length and breadth of Nigeria, people should watch out for our nation. Because I can tell you for free, out of that leadership foundation, we've raised people that have gone to, politics, gone to blue chip companies, academia back on campus. Some are become inventors or big business guys. I mean, just 2 months ago, I live here in Spring in the US. Just 2 months ago, one of my students that we trained, I just got a WhatsApp, no, it wasn't WhatsApp, Messenger, Facebook Messenger message. And then this guy just texted me. They call me General, JB. And then he said, General, good, I'm here in Houston. How can we see something like that? And I was like, wow. And then this guy is in Rice University doing his PhD.
Wow.
Right now, as I speak to you, I have 2 students from our academy that are here in Rice University. Rice University, we call Rice University in Houston the Ivy League of Texas, just like how you have Harvard and MIT and Yale. Rice is the Ivy League school of Texas. 2 of my students are there. One of my students is in University of Pennsylvania. I have them. So one is in Stanford. One is in University of California. Scattered everywhere here in North America. So my in Europe. So I say those 11 years that I thought I was suffering, our things were tough and rough and hard, were really the crucible, the furnace where God was training me, refining me, that someday I will become that speaker that people will hear. I will become that coach that will coach people. I will become that resource person that can put together programs. I mean, we did fantastic things in our leadership conferences across campuses. Right now, we have about 9, of our leadership, 9 club chapters of our leadership club on universities in Nigeria. And a whole lot. Yemisi, I can't catalog as many things that God did in the marketplace through this vessel to the glory of God. Because of those 11 troubling years, like we call it. And it's still pushing me on. There's a new project. I'm here in America on 2 fronts. It's pushing me on for the next project I'm working on right now in America. You will hear about it very soon.
Yes, so we're looking forward. So everybody, please keep your eye on this space. Keep your eye on this space. I'm so encouraged by your story, sir, because it makes at times you wonder when you were going through your wilderness experience.
Yes.
You would have been like, Baba God, when will all this wahala end now? When will these things, the better days come? Because God will only show you the end. He will not show you that you will go through wilderness. He doesn't show you the in-betweens. But the reality is that in-between was where you begin to learn the disciplines, the skills, and you build capacity for those things that he was actually taking you into. So really, if you, by any chance, maybe my audience, you're here, you're listening, and you are going through your wilderness experience, guess what? It's like being in class. It's like going through lectures, having your lectures and your tests and everything. Why is it actually equipping you and preparing you for that day where God is taking you to? Wow, thank you so much, sir, for that. Now, I've been asking for comments and questions. I thank you so much, everyone, for your comments. But I have a question here, and I would love for you to kind of, weigh in on that question. It says, my question to the man of God is, how do I know the promises of God for my future? And what are the steps to be fulfilled? What are the steps to fulfill these promises? Okay. So it says, how do I know the promises? How do I discover? How do I know the promises of God for my future? And how the steps to fulfill these promises?
Thank you very much. I know who wrote this. It's good to hear from you, Solomon. Solomon, my friend. Praise God. So in those, like I said, those 11 years in the wilderness, a whole lot happened in my life, a whole lot. And one of it was helping people, find their calling, like he's asking now. And God gave me 3 Ds to help you find your purpose, your calling in life. And I'll quickly talk about the 3. Purpose is either delivered, discovered, or desired. It is delivered. In the case of Abraham was just living his life in his father's nation. And then one day somebody just called, Abraham, get thee out of your father's house. It was delivered. It was delivered to him. The same for Moses, burning bush experience. And hey, Moses, go to Egypt and deliver my people. Theirs was delivered to them. They heard God. Paul in the New Testament, they heard God. But how many, in quote, Christians today hear God? How many people, not just even Christians, how many people hear God directly, like I heard, believe? Right? So mine was delivered. The second dimension is it is discovered. Joseph, even though he had a dream and God was showing him something, in the course of him walking with God, he discovered that this is my life. And then people think that Joseph was a dream interpreter or a dreamer. That was Joseph's life. That was the surface. Underneath the dreamer was a man who was an administrator par excellence.
That's true.
It wasn't his dream that took him to the palace. The dream was just God showing him that this will happen later. How did he walk that path? Because he was an administrator, excellent administrator, and it was all over in scripture. From his father's house, he was tending sheep with his brothers. Remember, he went to report them to his father that these people they are doing malpractice. They are stealing family funds. They are embezzling money. They are doing wrong things from his stepbrothers. Joseph was a man that kept the books. Joseph was a man that was full of operational excellence. He started from his father's house. Graduated from there, became a slave boy and a houseboy in Potiphar's house. What was his resume? Potiphar did not care what was happening. Joseph administered in Potiphar's house excellently well. He left there, went to where? To the prison. They made him the head of the prisons. Why? Par excellent administrator. So in all of these, bumpy paths he followed, he was discovering and building his capacity to administer. And then at the end of the day, God said, I've tried this guy. Now, go to become prime minister. And see what he did as a prime minister in Egypt. At the age of 30, Joseph became prime minister. You know how much time he was on that throne? Do you know how long Joseph stayed on the throne?
No, I don't.
80 solid years.
Wow.
He became prime minister at the age of 30. Wow. He died at the age of 110. The last verse of Genesis 50. Read the last verse. And Joseph died. And that was the end. And that was the end of the book of Genesis. One man ended the whole book. Can you imagine? If you go to Exodus chapter 1, the same Joseph opened the book of Exodus. It says, and there was a Pharaoh that rose that did not know Joseph. That was how it started again in Exodus. That was how powerful that one man is. So purpose can be discovered as you begin to trade your skills, your gift, your talent. God will be driving you. Look at people today that are not even Christians. Bill Gates, take for instance, he began to develop himself in the area of what? His passion. And in the course of it, his father wanted him to read law in Harvard. That was the path his father cut for him. He did 1 year in Harvard. But as he was there trying to read law, he said, let me take electives in computing, because that's where I love computers. I like anything computing and all of that. And he took some classes there, and then, wow, his mind opened up. And that was it. So your purpose can be discovered. Then the third dimension is it can be desired. Again, a lot of people will not hear God directly. So you can desire to do something like Nehemiah. Nehemiah never heard God in Artaxerxes' palace. Go to Israel, to Jerusalem, and rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. No, read Nehemiah chapter 1. He desired something. He was comfortable in Aso Rock or in White House as it was that time. He was a cupbearer with the king. So he was enjoying royal presidential palace life. He must have been living in the quarters in the palace. But someday, Hananiah and some people came to where he was. And then guess what? He began to ask, what is happening in Jerusalem? What is going on? What's going on in Nigeria? What's going on in Anambra? What's going on in the shipping industry? And then you begin to draw a passion, a desire to change the landmark in Anambra State, or in that your profession, in that your career. So you can desire something and God will back you. Wow. So it was out of that desire God backed Nehemiah. Go, okay, you want to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. What is the first step? Go and take permission from King Artaxerxes. And in chapter 2, he went. And then he said, oh, what will happen to me? Or I don't know if Artaxerxes will put me in jail or dethrone me from this highly exalted position. But he went anyway, and he found favor. Yes. Artaxerxes opened the chest of the wealthy kingdom to him. So a lot of people have found themselves in this third category where God did not tell you anything. You just desired out of passion, out of, an interest. Mother Teresa did not hear God say, go and begin to build orphanage and take care of children. It was something that she desired. She hated something. She saw something that she wanted God to use her to solve. And Mother Teresa her legacy still lives on. So to answer Solomon, it could be in these three dimensions. You discover it, it's delivered to you divinely, or you desire it. So I hope that answers his question.
Wow, thank you. In fact, I have learned a new dimension. This is amazing. It's truly, truly amazing. I know one of the things that I love to say, when from time to time I share with people, is that it's amazing how we may have the same message, but God gives us in different dimensions, in different ways. Here you are, that one of the things that you stand for, the core, is to find your purpose wherever it is, whether in the marketplace or ministry, and give expression to it. And really, that's what I also stand for. But the expressions are different. And yes, the experiences have been different. God, has a way of equipping us exactly for the purpose to which he has called us to. God knew where you were going, and he had to equip you through that 11 years of equipping, So really, I just want to encourage anybody listening tonight, wherever you are in your purpose journey, guess what? God will continue to equip you, and God will continue to, refine you for where he is taking you to. Purpose, we must walk in this purpose journey. And because really, I know for a certainty that there's no better life. There's no better life outside, walking in purpose and living that purposeful life. Now, our time is already really fast. This is already past like an hour mark. I told you, I said that I know this man. If I give him the stage, if I allow him to continue, we will still be here. Another 1 hour, you are still here because he has a lot to give us. But I'm just going to ask you, sir, that even as we round up, can you share with us, maybe one or two things that you would say, okay, what is that thing that you would say to us that, look, as regards living life purposefully, about, like today we're talking about grace. We're talking about grace. We're talking about purpose. What is that one thing that you will say to somebody listening today that has heard your story? What is that one thing that you will say to them as regards living out their purpose? And especially, when it seems like the wilderness is a tough place to be, what would you say as regards God's grace in all this?
But you've answered the question by asking the question, really. But let me say it with an experiential answer. You know, thank you, Chidima. It's all grace, really, really. You know, I think in 1 Corinthians 15, verse 10, Paul says something. The man that wrote 2/3 of the New Testament. He said, I am what I am today by the grace of God. Now listen to the qualifier. He said, but yet not I, but the grace of God that was upon me. Now hear this. He said, but I labored more abundantly than them all. So there's a place where grace comes, and there's a place where your labor to back up the grace of God comes for you. I mean, imagine if I had said, oh, God called me, I will leave engineering, I will answer the call someday. God, don't worry. I know I will still answer that call. But grace pushed me out. And like I said, those 11 years were rigorous years of unlearning and relearning and learning, things. And in the course of it, a lot has come into me today that has made me so sure of the path I'm following. It's a work of grace, and then your obedience of faith. You got to, come to a place in God where you lovingly obey God. It may not make sense. I mean, I've done many faith things. I mean, while I was in that oil company, my second return to the oil company, God told me again to resign. June 1st, 2020. That's another story. In the comfort of working that work, again, in the oil company, I've traveled the world. I have a Harvard certificate. I went to Harvard. And in all of the honors I've seen, God again said, resign. June 1st, 2020, during COVID. I said, go again. Another leave. It was another very tough decision to take. Because like I said, Moses' life was segmented, 40, 40, 40. I don't know how mine has been segmented, but I'm still on a journey. Like you said, success is a destination, not a destiny. So I'm still on the journey of succeeding in my call, in my work, in my assignment on the face of the earth. I've heard God tell me things to do that my wife and I, we did. And why did we do this? Are you out of your mind? So we have to, he said, do we obey God or man? So grace is the tonic. But you must also, like Paul said in that Corinthians 15:10, you must also labor in the grace. There's a place for you to, the labor there comes in your obedience of faith. So that is what has helped us. Okay, come to the United States of America. That's another story again. That's another chapter of my life that I've been here. If I open that chapter now, I will not leave here.
We will not close. We will not close.
I'm telling you, because again, if I open up that again, you will be shocked and amazed at grace again at work. I mean,
I'll come on with you one-on-one. I'm going to go and hear the stories.
It's another testament. It's another episode of grace at work again. So the bottom line, like Jesus Christ said, herein is the Father pleased with me because I do always the things that please him. Our Christian work is not just go to church, sing songs, give tithes, and then, pray, die, fire, and all of that. And then, just enjoy a good message. And then Monday you are out of reach. God cannot even reach you again. No. Your life starts on you are driving out of that church premises. Your true Christian life and walk starts outside there. What are Christians doing in the marketplace? We are the light of the world, not of the church. We are the salt of the earth, not salt in the church. Upon that talk now is another experience.
Another one also.
You scratch my liver there again.
In
So
fact,
I'm so passionate about who we are as Christians.
Yeah.
Joseph, yes, we've been called to live righteously and holy lives. Beyond us, living holy and righteous. What else? Is that all Christianity is all about? I beg to be corrected. No, man, no, sir. And I give you 2 examples in the scriptures. Joseph and Daniel. Was Joseph a holy man in the Bible? Yes. He said, how can I do this wicked thing and sin against God? The Bible says, and Joseph feared God. He lived a life of reverence. You could not pinpoint him with any sin or anything negative. But was that all about Joseph's life? No. Look at him in the marketplace. Nobody could interpret the dream of the Pharaoh. He came to the scene. He interpreted it. He did not only interpret it, he gave them witty solution how to live through those 7 years. And he did not only give them the solution, he administered the solution for the next 80 years. That's Christianity. Flip to Daniel. Daniel's case was even more terrible, more harder than Joseph. At least Pharaoh remembered his dream and told them. Nebuchadnezzar did not remember his dream. Yemisi, if you sleep on the same bed with your husband, even if you cuddle each other and kiss each other till morning time, and you dreamt, or your husband dreams, can you know his dream? You can't. And Nebuchadnezzar threatened that, all of you, I'm going to kill you if you don't tell me remember my dream for me. That's a wicked man. If all of you have been chopping my money in the palace, and now is your time to pay me back for the heavy money I pay all of you. Plus Daniel, if you guys don't tell me, I'll kill all of you. And Daniel went to God. Pam pam to scale bonta. He went into prayer mode. The Bible says, and then was the vision revealed to Daniel. And then he came back to the scene. Yes, a man in the kingdom has found the answer. He knows the dream. He doesn't only know the dream, he knows the interpretation. And Daniel outlived 4 kings.
Wow.
4 kings. Nebuchadnezzar, his son Belshazzar, Darius, and Cyrus. 4 kings. 1 boy. He started as a young man.
Sir, if I allow you, you will be another 1 hour. You're very started another 7.
You scratched my liver. Don't mind me.
I have pressed your button and you're ready to go. In fact,
I just love myself. I love my salvation. I love my Christianity. I love my God. I love what the church represents to the world. And one of my mantra scriptures is what Jesus told us in Matthew 5 from verse 13 to 16. You are the light of the world. You are the salt of the earth. Verse 16, let your light, Christians, children of God, let our light so shine amongst men, not in the church, amongst men. They might see our good works and glorify our Father. And that's what Jesus lived for. He went about doing good, not in the synagogue, in the marketplace, on the streets of Jerusalem.
I know as you are speaking, there's somebody in the audience. Her ministry is marketplace.
Correct.
Ministry in the marketplace.
That is
she's being
ginger right now.
Thank you so much. In fact, please, everybody, can we show some love to Mr. Joseph? Let's just give him the fire emoji. Let it start rolling. The fire emojis, the applause. Is it the roses and whatever? Let us begin to roll it out, because this man has given, he has shared something with us. He shared his life story. And sincerely, we are encouraged. We are challenged. I've caught some revelations. Sir, I've caught some revelations. I will not lie to you.
Oh, really? Thank God.
Thank you. In fact, when you say that we are not salt to the church, you can imagine if all of us salt within inside church. That means when salt is too much inside pot is wahala, because it will not even have taste again. As in, you can imagine me pouring a whole packet of sauce in a pot of stew. Nobody will be able to eat it. That's our right. Value, our essence is outside of the church. That right. Is where we will become relevant. That's where we'll truly make an impact. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Definitely. In fact, I will see how, I'm sure one of these future episodes, you will be coming back to share more of your story and even more on your journey.
We
To
thank God.
you, we say a
Thanks for
big
having me.
thank you for your
Thanks, my
time.
audience. As many of you, I hope I've been able to ignite you like my igniter sister. You know, it's the best thing you can do for yourself. Obey God and live a life of purpose. You know, it gives you the best sense of fulfillment and accomplishment, not the amount of money you have in your bank account. That can also come, you know, obeying God, you know, but most importantly, it's about lives, you know, touching lives. Ministry is about touching lives. I didn't go into those dimensions about all that God has used in my own little corner me to do for humanity. But I thank you all, and I pray we will all ignite our fire and do stuff for the Lord and for humanity.
Amen. Thank you so much, sir, once again for your time. We truly appreciate you. A big God bless you. Yes. We're going to have to close this session. This has truly been a beautiful one. Thank you, sir. To everyone, I just want you, the way that you are going to, you know, show to Mr. Joseph that you have truly been encouraged, you have truly been ignited, you have truly been blessed. Let me tell you how you're going to do it. Just go ahead and share the link with someone, because I have no doubt that people need to hear this story. I'm sure you would know somebody that may be in their wilderness experience and be feeling like, this wahala too much. You know, encourage somebody, share this link with somebody, you know, encourage somebody to find their purpose, because really there's no better life outside purpose. Purpose is really what matters. Purpose is what makes a difference. You know, and sincerely, I came across, you know, there was something I learned during the week, you know, even like talking about the story of Joseph. You know, Joseph was a dreamer. Joseph was a dream interpreter, and he was a dream maker. Those were the different phases of his life. He was first a dreamer. Then he became a dream interpreter. And then he finally became a dream maker. Whatever phase of life you find yourself, guess what? God's grace is more than sufficient to help you, to see you through, and is ready to carry you to the next phase that you need to get to. So please, let us just be encouraged at any time and at any place and at any point in time that grace is available to us, and that grace is what will truly make us unstoppable, and we keep on running that journey of purpose until we get to the very end. So to everyone, thank you for staying, you know, online this long. Yes, it's been a long session, but I know that you have left encouraged, you have left ignited, and you have left, you know, empowered to continue to run your race. So till we see again next month, my name remains Yemisi, and I am the Igniter. I would like to encourage you that, yes, catch up on some other videos that we have even on this channel. Yes, you will be truly ignited. So many stories have been shared. So many people have shared their story. And I promise you, you will truly be ignited. You will find enough light to shine, you know, on the path where you are, to bring you to the place where you need to be. So to everyone, once again, thank you for your time, and a big God bless you. Remember to share the link with somebody. Remember, you know, to encourage somebody else to be a part of this. Yes, every month we meet at the end of the month. We have our guest speakers. And from time to time, when I just feel like I need to just ginger us a bit, I go ahead to share and to ignite something with you. So till we see again in the month of September, keep living life purposeful by design. Thank you, everyone. And a big God bless you. Bye-bye.